time before we start? So we're good then? Okay, fair enough. Okay. So are we good? All right, good evening, everyone. If we could find our seats here, and we'll get started. All right, folks. All right, thank you to everyone who participated in our working meeting ahead of time. It's kind of a fun way to learn some Robert's rules, but now we're back to some more decorum and professionalism in our actual meeting. So the time is 6:37 p.m., and I hereby call this meeting of the Student Senate to order. We'll begin with a roll call. When I call your name, please say here or present. Iono Dimhoff. Moran. Rahman. Rolls. Pelzer. O'Connor. Kwiatkowski. Utica. Palin. Moisango. Kekun. Azan. Kameyer. Pedasani. Hartley. Agarwal. Shamsai. Veriger. Do we lose? I guess not. Gopa. Snyder. Mamani. Nandal. Sloop. Pursley. And Cronin. With that, we do have quorum for the evening. And with that, we'll move into the Pledge of Allegiance led by Vice Speaker Pursley. And with that, there is no Senate program for this evening, and so we'll move directly into open forum. Open forum shall serve as an opportunity for students to speak about any issues relevant to the student body. If anyone is here tonight for open forum, I would ask that you approach the podium at this time. Seeing no one here for open forum, we'll move into adopting this evening's agenda. Are there any amendments before we do so? Starting with Speaker Momini.
I motion to add 2024-2-039 SG to special orders. It's already all there. You can see it highlighted.
Moved and seconded to add item 039 SG to the bottom of special orders. Are there any objections? Seeing no objections, the amendment shall be made. We're now back on the agenda as a whole with Senator Snyder.
I would make a motion to add 2024-2-024F to the bottom of new business.
You said 024F?
Yes, the one at the bottom.
Okay. Moved and seconded to add item 024F to the bottom of new business. Are there any objections? Seeing no objections, the amendment shall be made. Back on the agenda with Senator Pedasani.
Motion to remove 2024-2-002J from the agenda.
Motion to remove what?
002J.
Yes, yeah, new business. New business. Second.
Objection.
Moved and seconded and objected to. Is there a reasoning from the authors or anything of that sort?
Congratulating a team during mid-season is not great omen, and we do not want to we don't want to cause anything, so.
All right. So I'll give either of you the opportunity to withdraw. So you have moved to strike it from the agenda. I believe there was a second on that. Did I hear a second? Moved and seconded, and then I heard objections from somewhere else. Who objected? You objected to that. I think Speaker Momini objected to that. So unless there are any objections, we'll move into a vote on that. Unless there's any further discussion. So seeing no objections, without objection, we'll move directly into a vote on that. And so we'll just do a placard vote. Yes being removing this item from the agenda. No, obviously not removing this from the agenda, or you may abstain. Sure. So I was moving straight to the vote, assuming there were no discussions. But if there are, the floor is open for discussion on the motion, starting with Senator Azan.
So I just want to ask the author of the bill to actually explain the motivation behind this resolution so that we can understand what's going on in the context.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Can you repeat your question?
So I'm just saying that, can you talk about the bill, the motivation behind this resolution, so that we have a better context what's going on?
I mean, it's to congratulate the team on going 0-7. 0-0, 7-0. Listen, y'all, I don't know anything about sports. I don't watch the games. Anyways, if you read the bill, it's pretty self-explanatory. I didn't know it was going to be controversial, so I would yield some time to President Hirsch. Your name's on the bill. Oh, I guess I can't. It's not my speaking privilege, but.
If you wish,
I
you
yield my
can
time
yield to the president.
President Hirsch. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's literally exactly what it says in the resolution. It's congratulating Iowa State University athletic departments and student athletes on an unprecedented start to the 2024 football season. It's not about the whole football season. It's just, how good we're off to at the beginning. And again, I'm really open to however Senate feels here. I thought it was a nice gesture, and it's so incredible too what this football team's been able to do. That win against UCF, I'm going to be honest, I left the stadium with like 2 minutes left. You saw it, you were there. You saw it, firsthand. We actually stayed and we're watching the game through the fencing. Me and all the other unfaithful Iowa State fans who thought we didn't have a chance, and then we did and we won. But again, 7-0, I mean, 86 years. There have been people that have been born an Iowa State fan, that died an Iowa State fan, and never saw us go 7-0 to start the season. It's pretty incredible, really. And so again, I just thought it was a nice gesture, saying, what a great job so far. I know you'll continue to do a great job the rest of the season. So that's all it is. It's
Awesome.
not that deep.
Awesome, I yield.
Floor is still open on the motion, moving on to Senator Pedisani.
Sports are all about superstition. We cannot. I understand congratulating a great start, but it's also like I'm somebody who supports a lot of sports teams, and superstition is all a part about sport. It's all about sports. Superstition is key. You don't congratulate till that you are winning and the season is over. That's all I have to say.
Senator Palin.
Kind of just echoing that, there's a lot of superstition in sports. I feel the same way. I definitely feel that they deserve to be congratulated, but I feel at the end of the season, when what's done is done, I don't want to jinx it. So that's kind of why I'm opposing it.
Senator Gopa.
Okay, is this really that controversial? Can we just vote on this, please? Like, if you believe in a superstition, vote yes. If you don't, vote no. Let's end this discussion, because I don't think this is going to go anywhere, and this is just a simple bill congratulating someone, and we have other bills on the agenda. So I would appreciate a vote going on right now.
Moved. Okay, so you can withdraw, otherwise we would go into a vote on whether or not to vote. So, seeing as it's been withdrawn, we'll move on to Speaker Momini.
I am a superstitious person. I'm not a sports person, so I've never heard of this superstition before. I think that I understand where you guys are coming from. I think that if we do go in the direction, instead of removing it from the agenda, that we table it until the end of the season, because I think that it would still be worth congratulating them. So that's kind of my piece on this.
I'd second that.
So I think what we have to do is dispense with the motion of removing it from the agenda first, and then you could pick what you do with it. So then that would be in order. We'll move over to Senator Kammeier.
I would just like to say that this isn't a resolution saying that we're going to do like incredible things or anything. This is just like congratulating on how far we've gone so far. Like, this is in my opinion, a very silly discussion. And again, I would like to call to question.
Moved and seconded. Are there any objections? Seeing no objections, we'll move into a vote on this. And so voting yes means striking this item from the agenda. Voting no means keeping it on the agenda. Or, of course, you may abstain. Unless there are any strong feelings, I'll do this as a placard vote. And so those in favor of removing this from the agenda, please raise your placard. Here, just hold them high for a second so I know which ones are the final votes. All right, thank you. Those opposed? Those who want to keep it on the agenda? Thank you. And any abstentions? All right, thank you all. So with a vote of 9 to 8 to 6, the motion fails and will remain on the agenda. So with that, we're back on the agenda as a whole. Are there any further amendments before we adopt, starting with Senator Palin?
Can I yield my speaking privilege to President Hirsch?
You may.
Hey, I want to add too, I'm totally fine with us waiting on this and we can congratulate the football team when we win the national championship. I'm fine either way we want to go, okay?
8 to 6. All right, so with that, we are on the agenda as a whole. So any other amendments before we adopt, starting with Senator Pedisani, we'll move this way.
Motion to table the bill till the end of the season.
Is there a second? All right, moved and seconded to table 002J until the end of the season. Moved. There's been an objection. Do you wish to state the nature of your objection?
Seriously?
I'm sorry, again, this is not a bill saying what President Hirsch just said, oh, we're going to win the national championship. But what it is saying is just congratulating the athletics department on a great season. When we would pass this, this would also be right before our men's and women's basketball teams would be starting their season, which I think is a great sign given that both of those teams are in the top 10. I think that this is the perfect time to pass this resolution would be next week when it's on second read. Thank you.
All right, and so if there are strong feelings for discussion, assuming that you're not withdrawing, assuming that you're... All right, so unless there are strong feelings for debate on this, we could do that. Otherwise, I would, without objection, move us directly into a vote on that motion, motion being to table until the end of the season. So are you wishing to debate? Senator Azan?
I think we can still pass this bill. There's nothing crazy going on. It's just a simple congratulation of whatever we accomplished so far. So just vote for it.
Okay, any other discussion before we vote? Senator Gopa?
This is by far the silliest silliest conversation we ever had. Like, this is just a yeah, we're just congratulating them. Just put it on and off, that's it.
All right, any further discussion before we moved and seconded to end debate and vote on the motion? Are there any objections to doing so? Seeing... Yes, so the motion was, if I'm not mistaken, tabling it till the end of the season. So voting yes would mean tabling it until the end of the season. Voting no would mean keeping it on tonight's agenda. And of course, you may abstain. Unless, again, there are strong feelings, I'll do this as a placard vote. Those in favor of tabling this until the end of the season, please indicate as such. Thank you. Those opposed? And hold them high so I can get them. And any abstentions? Thank you. So with a vote of 11 to 8 to 4, the motion to table fails. We're now back on the agenda as a whole. Are there any further amendments before we adopt tonight's agenda? Senator Moisango. Add it to the bottom of new business, and you said it was 022F? Am I correct? Is there a second? Moved and seconded. Are there any objections to that amendment? Seeing no objections, it shall be made. Back on the agenda as a whole now.
Point of information, if you're going to add it, I typed new bill here. You can paste it over that so the agenda doesn't get all messed up, please. Thank you.
right. And if people do wish to read that, we can get it added before we adopt, or we can move forward with the agenda. Either way. We'll approve the agenda. Moved and seconded to adopt this evening's agenda. Are there any objections to doing so? Seeing no objections, it shall be adopted. And we'll move on to approving the minutes of last meeting. Is there a motion to do so? Is there a second? Moved and seconded. Any objection to approving the minutes? Seeing no objections, they shall be approved. And with that, we'll move directly into committee reports, starting with Speaker Momini and the Rules Committee.
Yep, we meet tomorrow at 5:30, like always. We're still working on the baby bylaws. We are supposed to be seeing some cow senators, and yeah, UROC is also having a meeting to determine who's sitting there. So hopefully this table will get even more full in the coming weeks. That's all.
And with that, the floor is open for questions or comments for the Rules Committee. Seeing none, we'll move over to Finance.
Howdy, y'all. We have one bill on for you guys to vote on today. It was passed favorably. Another bill that was just added to new business will be asked to waive first read. So check that one out. It's the other funding Dandia. So check that one out. We'll vote on that one again tonight. That one was passed favorably. If you guys choose to waive first read. Otherwise, that's all I got. Thanks, guys.
The floor is open for questions, starting with Senator Azan.
I just want to say with all the senators, typically we don't do first wave unless there's like ultimately emergency or something. So do you,
Debate over that. I won't do that right now.
okay, awesome.
Are there any further questions or comments for the Finance Committee? Seeing none, we'll move on to PR.
PR has a bill seating 2 more senators to the PR committee. So yeah, both of those members are going to be great additions to the PR committee. Looking forward to having them work through the rest of the semester and for the rest of the year. IT sent out an email to a lot of people saying they want to update each committee page. So please get on your committee chair and make sure they send over IT information so we can update your guys' committee pages. Then outreach is coming up with a bunch of ideas. There's going to be a new outreach event in the MIS very soon for homecoming, and then also marketing. There is a post that got up, so please go like and share it. And then also we are going to be coming up with a lot more posts that are going to be coming up in the next couple weeks.
All right, and with that, the floor is open. Seeing no questions or comments, we'll move on to the Idea Committee.
Hi, everyone. So we have a lot more new at-larges in our committee now, and it's been really fun working with everyone. We've come up with a lot of new great ideas, and not just ideas, we've started working on them as well. Today we actually had a really nice meeting with ISSO and all the different career services in our university, and we came up with a lot of great new projects to start working on, and we've already taken the first steps, so yeah. Looking forward to doing more stuff.
And with that, the floor is open for any questions or comments. Seeing none, we'll move on to the Events Committee.
Hi, guys. Also just me today. We have been taking a little bit of a sabbatical post Big 12 conference. I think my committee has earned it. And moving forward, we're so far just looking like towards February. So if you guys have any events that you would like help with for your committee or your constituency council, please reach out. Thanks.
With that, the floor is open. Seeing no questions, we'll move on to the Local Affairs Committee.
Okay, so we're officially 1 month away, 1 month from the joint student government city council meeting. So I've received input from a few of you guys about things you want to discuss, things you want to hear about during this meeting, but I am asking you if you have any topics you're thinking about right now, or anything like that, please let me know so I can gather any reports that we've already done, if applicable, just so that we can have the most productive meeting as possible. We only have mayor and council here for 2 hours, so I just want it to be as productive as possible. Second, the message of the mayor flyers went up this week. We've already gotten a few messages from that. So local affairs is expecting a steady increase from here on out. So we're pretty excited about that. And then also in the general chat, I shared a survey with you about downtown Ames. If you could all fill it out, that would be really great for downtown Ames's research that they're doing right now. It's due November 1st, so please try and do it before that. Thank you.
With that, the floor is open for questions or comments for local affairs. Seeing none, we'll move on to the Sustainability Committee.
Hi guys. So all of our at-larges are set, which is really great, and you guys won't have to hear from us for a while. Aside from that, some things we've been doing, we had people go to Chopin Recycling in Des Moines on Friday and check it out, which was super cool. And then we got to table at the Campus Sustainability Month celebration on Monday. So I saw a few of you there, and it was super fun. Aside from that, on the horizon, we have a event with Panhellenic Council doing Greek Triangle and on-campus cleanup after homecoming. So if you're in a sorority or fraternity, look out for signups for that.
With that, the floor is open for questions. Seeing none, we'll move on to the Health and Wellness Committee.
Hey guys, Health and Wellness met last week. We had the different members come up with things that they're interested in, and there was kind of a common theme, and it was working with Thielen. So I think we're going to look to see if we can help spread awareness for them, because I'm sure there's a lot of things we know that they do, but I think there's also a lot that we don't know. And so really looking forward to the committee digging into some research and seeing what we can spread awareness on that some students might not know about. Senator Pedisani brought Safe Ride to my attention too, so that's something that he's been interested in. We're going to start working on that to spread awareness. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with it. If you're not, I'd look into it. It's actually really cool. So yeah, that's all I got for now.
Are there any questions or comments for Health and Wellness? Seeing none, we'll move on to the Legislative Ambassadors.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, guys. Not a whole lot for updates. We held our first committee meeting last week. Super productive meeting. Our committee members are super excited about our legislative priorities, so we're excited to get started and start setting up those visits for the Capitol for the spring. Other than that, I'm interviewing 3 more new at-larges on Monday and then 1 more on Friday. So be on the lookout for some more bills to get at-larges out to my committee.
Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to that other category. This is an opportunity for any senator to share updates from any committee that is not otherwise represented on tonight's agenda, starting with Senator Gopa.
Yeah, the SIRI board, the Ames Transit Agency Board of Trustees met a couple, I think last week, and we talked about, we bought new video surveillance systems for all the buses. They're adding more infotainment systems for the buses, and they're replacing 2 of the old buses with diesel buses, and so you might not see those old buses anymore. And if you guys want me to lobby for something in the SIRI Board of Trustees, let me know, and I can ask for it.
Are there any further committee updates? All right, and so seeing none, with that, we'll move into comments from the judicial branch. If we have, or we'll move instead to comments from our advisor.
I don't have a ton this week. I think it's the middle of the semester, and I've just realized that November is about to come crashing down on all of us. So I think just keep working on the projects that you have going. Several of you have scheduled meetings with me in the last week or so to talk about resources or connections you need to make, which has been really great. So keep reaching out to your advisors for assistance in whatever it is that you are working on, and take care of yourselves and make good choices.
With that, the floor is open for questions. Seeing none, we'll move on to comments from the executive branch with President Hirsch.
Hi, everyone. Not a lot for you tonight. We had our student body president executive council meeting that met yesterday. It's super exciting because historically we've done it, but it was only open to constituency councils. We have a lot of other key stakeholders that are going to those meetings and really getting great feedback and just creating more of a connection with other student organizations on campus because, again, you know, we're representing people. And so being able to get their feedback and ideas for what we can do in student government is always exciting, and there's a lot of great stuff happening there. One quick thing for everyone, too. If you're not currently able to enter the main office using your ISU card, please stay after Senate so we can get your information and make sure that you get added there. Because I know that there's some people that haven't been added for a couple months now. Let's make sure that you're on there and you're able to do it. So that's all I have, doing a lot of great stuff in student government. I'm really, really happy with what we've done so far.
Are there any questions or comments for the executive? Oh, go ahead.
Just a point of information on the office door. We temporarily lost the cord that connects the laptop that updates the lock, but we have found it. So that should be happening soon. But yes, please do let us know if you don't currently have access.
All right, any further questions? Seeing none, we'll move into the business of this evening, starting first with External Matter 2024-2-020F, funding for Winterfest with Senator Pedisani.
So this is a bill funding Winterfest, and Winterfest is an organization that usually has an event towards every November, and we have some members regarding that up front, and I would like to yield them my time.
Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. I'm the treasurer for Winterfest this year, and this is our advisor, Teresa. And then we're here to request funding for Winterfest this year. So we'll be requesting for a total of $4,500 for food and also $500 for decorations. And so a little overview of what Winterfest is. It's an annual free event for Iowa State students and the community. So we host events. We'll be having a tree lighting ceremony on Central Campus, and also an open house at the Knolls with President Winterstein. We also have horse carriage rides and also ice skating, along with some events in the MU like bowling. We work with the workspace in the basement to have some crafts during that night. We also have chair massages. We have airbrush tattoos. We'll be having Stuff a Plush, gingerbread house competitions, and also cookie decorating. And so the funding would be going to help us make these events happen and kind of transform the MU space into what our set theme is for this year. So our set theme would be Cozy Cabin, and that's kind of what we're trying to go for with the money for this.
All right, and so if that, the floor is open for debates and questions, starting with Senator Azan.
I love Winterfest. Did you guys apply for funding through annual allocation for this specific event? Because I do remember seeing this bill last year through annual allocation.
Yeah,
So can you explain that? Why you need more money for that?
Yeah, so the money would mainly go to so we can help provide more food for students. We're trying to have as much students be involved with this event as possible. So having the extra money for food, that would be able to go towards providing food for students, and so they won't like leave and not come back, which will result in higher attendance and more involvement. And the decorations, it's because we did set our theme, which is going to be Cozy Cabins again. Like I mentioned before, it's going to be Cozy Cabins this year. And so now that we have our theme, we're trying to go beyond what we had set at first. So including like doing stuff with the new spaces in MU, like the new lounge space, having some more balloons, doing decorations for that, kind of to just transform the space into something different rather than just a student union building that we're all used to.
Okay. So when I see the bill, I can see that there are two line items that you are requesting money. One is the food category, the other one is the decoration,
yes.
Right? So the cozy bed and all these things that you are talking, so you are using the previous money to support that, right? But for decorations, it's just any specific thing that you are using for $500, or what kind of decoration are you doing?
Yeah, so that's kind of going to be based on how much funding we get. That way we can decide on what we can do with the space. And then the additional $500 we're asking for now is because we have a set theme now, when in the past it's just basic stuff like balloons, signage, that sort of stuff.
Okay. I'm going to ask question to Finance Director Martin. No, hi. No. Where's Evan? Here you go.
Hello.
I can see you now. Awesome. So I'm just confused about the annual allocation. So typically they do get funding for Winterfest through annual allocation. So do you remember the numbers? How much they got it for this category and what's going on in the background? I just want to make sure we are not double funding or like our funding one club.
Okay, so just a clarification for senators. I know I've said this before, but I'll remind you guys that yes, some clubs do go through annual allocations, but they're still able to come and request additional funds throughout the year, and this is exactly what's happening here. And remind me, was there a more specific part of your question?
Yeah. So how much they got it through annual allocation for Winterfest?
Okay.
Just to get a bigger context.
Yeah. Again, another thing. This is all public for you guys. You can go through our GSB website and you can see how much we fund any of the clubs that come through here, and you can go and see their previous budgets from years past. But as for this year, I pulled it up expecting this question, and looks like we funded them $43,750.
So we funded $43,000 for this event, and they are requesting $5,000 more for this. And we didn't fund the decoration in that category previously.
Okay, I don't. Again, this is all public for you guys. I don't think I should be involved in this discussion. But yes, they were funded for decorations before in annual allocations.
So again, I'm going to vote for no, just for point of information. Since we already funded for decoration, and it's like $43K, and just funding $500 again for the same line item doesn't make sense to me. Thank you, Ayu.
Point of information, we zero funded their food during our annual allocation. And for decorations, they came with the projected amount. And after gathering what they actually want to do, they actually came with the fixed amount of what they want to do. That's why they were requesting for the increase of $500.
So can you explain it, which specific thing that they are doing decoration?
Sorry?
What is specific thing that they are doing for decoration, other than what they are already requested in previous year annual allocation?
I will yield my time to them so that they can explain furthermore on the decorations.
So just to rephrase the question, I don't want to,
it's all good.
everything is good.
It's all good.
So the confusion that I have,
Yeah.
that we funded decoration in past, through annual allocation, right? And it's a big amount, right?
Yeah.
So what additional thing that you are looking, that you need more money, $500 on this event?
So the original money would be for more general stuff, kind of like balloons, signs, just general stuff that would go with, anything that we come up with this semester. And so this semester, once our committee meted, we came up with the theme of cozy cabin. So now that we have a set theme, we're looking to get more stuff. Of course, that would go like balloons, or maybe something with the new lounge space in the MU, to kind of transform the space into our new set theme, cozy cabin.
All right, and so if,
I'd also like to make a point of information. Only 500 was allotted for decorations in their annual allocation. So the rest was towards everything else.
all right, with that, we'll move over to Speaker Momini.
I have a couple of friendlies. Winterfest in some places is capitalized the F, in some places it's not. And also to remove the only for finance bills part.
Senator Pedisani, do you accept?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And I yield for now.
Senator Kameyer.
I guess I would just like to remind everyone that this passed through favorably in Finance Committee. Also, that Winterfest is one of the coolest events that Iowa State gets to see. And so my question to you, what is your favorite part about Winterfest?
Yeah, so I'm a sophomore right now, so last year was my first time at Winterfest. I was able to volunteer at the horse carriage rides last year. I have to say it was really cold that night, but I loved it, just meeting all the horses and meeting everyone that was in line, because it was a really long line. We do have a lot of people, community members, students that can take part of it.
to just talking to people while they're in line and just meeting all the horses. That was amazing. I also got to be on the last horse carriage ride, and it was snowing. Well, I think it was snowing, but it was a really cool night. And then I also went ice skating with some friends afterwards.
All right, Senator Gopa.
So I was looking to our PNC. Can we even fund decorations? That's just a question to Evan. Or, well, yeah, Pedisani, yeah, anyone.
It's a sponsored organization, so we can fund it.
Cool. Yeah, I just, in my freshman year, we came across a bill where it happened, and I was just a bit confused.
Yeah.
All right, Senator Sham Saeed, or, okay.
Yeah, so last year we had an estimate around 5,000 to 6,000 people, and that's kind of average of how much we're going to be expecting this year as well.
And do you think that $4,500 is enough for this amount of people? Or do you have any more funds?
Yeah, so Discover Ames is funding us 4,000, so that would be going towards food as well. And then we are also requesting 4,000 from event funding for food that will go towards food as well.
All right. Senator Gopa, was that from your previous speaking privilege? Speaker Mamani.
Just a clarifying question.
Yeah.
How many students do you expect to be there?
Yeah, so that's a number we can't really give it. That's something we can't really give an exact number for, just because it's not really a check-in, check-out type of event. We will say that the money that StudentGov will be giving us would be going towards students, because the money, food money for our community would be coming from Discover Ames, because they are paying for half of the food that we'll be serving. So if that kind of answers your question, we can't really give an exact number.
So the budget here for food, the 4,500, if it's open to the whole community and you guys don't have any kind of an estimate if it's majority students who attend, or?
It's a majority of students that attend,
Okay.
because it is on Iowa State campus. Plus, we do go till a later time. Our ice skating will be going to 12:30 this year. So because we do end at a later time, so it would be mostly students.
Point of information, they're also getting donations from Discover Ames, as they
Yes.
mentioned, but there's also, I think, Hy-Vee that's also donating some food as well for the cookie decorating part of the food. So majority of the food is, majority of the funds for food is donated through community organizations, not us. So.
Yeah, no, I get that. My concern was just $5,000 more on top of $43,000 that was already given. How much of that is going to students who attend? So that was my concern, is that we're giving, like, you know, the funds that we get are from students.
Mhm.
And I think that it's very important that, yes, while we give back to the community, that mostly we give back to students. So that's where my concern was coming from. I yield.
Rahman.
I will say I think Winterfest is an amazing organization and just event. I think Ames and Iowa State are really close, and even though it will be benefiting a lot of the younger students, even just like children in Ames, I think that it's, even though like a lot of Iowa students, what am I trying to say? A lot of college students don't see the value in Winterfest. I think that little children that are comfortable coming to Iowa State and seeing what we can offer is really great and amazing. And yeah, so I don't think it really matters if a lot of college students go. I think it's really important that the youth of Ames sees what's happening at Iowa State, maybe even just their future college campus.
Senator Pedisani.
I would also like to mention that this is an investment into Iowa State and its future, because this event is not just for us, but people of the community do come to this event, and it's an event that we're able to show off what Iowa State is and bring in the future of Iowa State through whatever means possible. So I feel like there shouldn't be there shouldn't be too big of an issue in terms of allocating a couple thousand more dollars, because we have a lot of money that should not be in those accounts and should be given back to students. So I think allotting it to Winterfest is probably the best use of it rather than just sitting there and not going to use towards anyone.
Senator Azan.
I just want to add one more thing. We already funded this $43,000 in past, and they are asking $5,000 more, which is a lot of money. If we have money, that doesn't mean we're just going to give everyone whatever they need, right? We have to prioritize the students because it's students' money. So that's my personal opinion. We already funded $43,000 for this event, and if they are asking $5,000 extra on top of whatever they have, so the total budget of the event will be around $49,000. That's a lot of money for one event, which is, they also mentioned they also have a sponsor from Discover Ames, Hy-Vee, and other contributing partners. And my question will be, if you don't get that money, can you still hold that event?
So yes, we would still be able to hold the event, we just won't be able to provide as much food, and that would kind of affect our attendance and our student involvement that we're looking for. And also for the decorations, yes, we could still go without the decorations. However, because it is right before prep week, we're getting students to be relaxed before their last chance, before they have to do all their finals and all that stress about all that stuff. So we're trying to make this experience just a really good night for them to relax and then be with friends.
Second question will be, did you already use $43,000, whatever we allocated for this event planning budget?
No, so we haven't used all of the money yet. We are communicating with the activities that we're looking to hold and all that, just to make sure we get the best to come out of all that money. Yeah.
So you have not used the $43,000 and you're still asking more money?
Point of information, the line items are not for food items.
Yes.
So they cannot use that money towards the food items.
They already have that money in that category. I yield.
They,
Call questions. Objection. You have withdraw.
All right. So did you still wish Senator Moisango to have a speaking privilege?
I just wanted to put to the Senate that when organizations come to the Finance Committee during annual allocations, sometimes they don't know every event that they want to do. That's why we give them an opportunity to come back. In our scenario, with zero funded, their food, because we had the same concerns that everyone has today, that some of this food may be going towards the community, not the students. And the organization went to look for more funding, which is like more than 4,000, which is more than half of what they are requesting. As of which, when we looked at it in Finance Committee, we noticed that most of the people that come to this event, more than 50%, is the students of Iowa State, which is quite an advantage that will definitely yield more than 4,500, because we'll get into the share that's being donated by the other organizations. I yield.
Vice Speaker Pursley.
Okay, so as I know so far, you guys have $500 for decorations, but you're asking for 500 more. I would just love a little breakdown of how you're going to spend $1,000 on decorations.
I think the reality is we don't have that whole plan yet because we don't know what we have for funding. So the committee has started brainstorming that. They know the 500 will go quickly with what we've done in the past, balloon arches and balloons around at the doors and things like that. And they want to really transform the space into, like she said, that cozy cabin feel. And so they want to be able to expand some of their ideas. So they have not, because they don't know if they've got extra money, really looked into some of those ideas yet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, yeah.
Senator Pedisani.
I would like to also bring up the fact that regarding what Senator Azan asked of, do they have extra money? Yes, if they do in certain line items, yes, they have it, but they cannot use it towards purchasing food because that money, it goes towards that line item. And another thing I would like to mention is that Finance Committee vetted this bill. We asked them questions. We made sure this bill was as solid as possible before it came before you guys, came in front of you guys. and we also sent it to Senate favorably. So if that's not something you guys will take into heavy consideration, I don't really know what else to say.
If you had something, Senator Kammeier.
I feel like we're honestly going in circles with this discussion, so with that, call to question.
All right, moved and seconded and then objected to. And so I'll give you guys the opportunity to withdraw, or you can describe the nature of your objection.
I just think that we should think objectively about the amount of money that we're giving. $1,000 for decorations is a lot. I know people who survive off of less than $1,000 a month. And so I think that if they have $500, that they should be able to go far with that and not just request an extra $500 to see what they could do with it. So that's what I wanted to discuss.
And I guess I'll just say, like, I understand that, but like I've said, like, we've been having this discussion for a while. Like, I feel like all the points have been raised, so let's just go into a vote.
Motion to zero fund for decoration.
Okay, hold.
I believe we're still on the call to question.
Yeah, so let's dispense with this motion, and then we can talk about that in a moment. So moved and seconded to, end debate. Are you still objecting to it? Moved and seconded, end debate at this time. Are there any objections to doing so? All right. And you can speak to that if you wish.
Regarding the organization and just the planning, are you extending your planning and activities from last year's event, or is it roughly the same type of activities? And is pricing of certain items a concern with like inflation or anything like that? Could you give us a breakdown on just like the expansion or just kind of overall size of the event, and if you're making the event bigger or smaller, if you could go into detail?
Yeah, so we're trying to keep it similar just because kind of keeping the tradition. So we're keeping the activities similar. It's because we're receiving less money from Discover Ames, less funding from Discover Ames. And so that's what the original funding student government gave us. That's why it's so much, if that answers your question.
All right, and so with that, are you still objecting to the call to question?
Yes. Yes.
So you are still objecting to it. Okay, and so I'll give you the opportunity to withdraw if you wish, and people can finish, or if you don't withdraw, we'll move into discussion on,
Am I allowed to speak on it?
assuming that you're still making the motion, then yes, go for it.
Okay. Seriously, I don't feel like there are any other points to make. Please, let's just vote on this bill. Thank you.
Any further discussion before we vote on whether or not we should vote? See no further discussion. Are there any objections to ending debate at this time? Yeah, so I would say, without objection, we'll move into whatever, and if nobody steps in and objects to it, we would just go ahead. So now is the time to object if you want to keep debating whether or not we should stop debating. And if there are no objections, we'll just move into a vote. So are there any objections? So if you have more to contribute to the conversation, now is the time.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about this bill. It seems kind of fishy. We don't know everything about their finances. I don't know what happened in the finance committee meeting where you decided.
Point of information, everything regarding annual allocations and all the money that we've funded them, including the line item and the reasoning, can be found at the Iowa State GSB finance website, where we have everything publicly available regarding all of our annual allocations. You can find the line item, the reason why we funded it, and everything, and the breakdown of how much they pay part and how much we pay part.
Oh, we paid $500 to them already.
Yes, for decorations, yes.
Okay.
All right, the floor is still open for discussion. We'll move over to FD Martinez, who does have a speaking privilege on finance-related bills.
So first off, thank you guys for the discussion. This is great. This is how it should be. but just some clarifications are exactly what Senator Pedisani just said, is that the amount that we give them is broken down by line items, and the club is not allowed to, without a line item transfer, is not allowed to spend outside of that line item. So this is just supplemental funding for those line items. Like we've stated before, is broken down on the GSB website. Another thing I'd like to remind you all is that if the funds are not spent, they return back to us. So that is something else to consider. If the funds are not spent, they don't just stay there, they come back into students' pockets. So with that in mind, that's all I got.
All right, any further discussion before we decide whether or not to simply move into a vote? Seeing no further discussion, unless there are any objections, now is the time to speak up. We'll move into a vote. So we would, to make an adjustment to that, we would have to go back into the bill as a whole. So you would have to vote no on voting now and get us back to the bill as a whole, and then you could make that motion. So with that, are there any objections to voting now? Seeing no objections, closing comments with Senator Pedisani.
I would say vote for it if you wish to, and abstain if you don't.
All right, and so if that, seeing as this is a finance bill, we'll move into a roll call vote. And so when I call your name, please say yes, no, and of course you may abstain. Iono Dimhoff. Moran. Rahman. Rolls. Pelzer. O'Connor. Utica. Abstain? Yes, thank you. Palin.
Yes.
Moisango?
Yes.
Kekun.
Yes.
Azan.
Yes.
Kameyer.
Yes.
Pedisani?
Yes.
Hartley. Yes. Agarwal. Shamsai. Verriger? Oh, not on the roll, excuse me. Gopa. Snyder.
Yes.
Momini? Nondal. Sloop? Pursley? Cronin? And then we'll move back up to Iono Dimhoff. Gopa. And Momini. Okay, and let's give us one moment here to make sure we're very correct on these numbers. All right, thank you for your patience. I wanted to make sure we have those numbers correct on that. And so with a vote of 11 to 1 to 11, the bill does not pass. And so you would have the option at any point to motion to reconsider. It would just have to be made by someone who voted in the majority on the original, but throwing that out there.
Wait, point of inquiry, when you say majority, there's,
The majority in this case being no or abstain, so both of which.
You mean yes or abstain?
No or abstain. So. Yes. Yes.
I would like to move a motion to reconsider the bill.
To reconsider?
Yeah.
Yes, I believe you abstained on that. Well, first of all, was there a second on that? Moved and seconded to reconsider. What's the nature of your objection?
I mean, you already voted for it, so why just waste again time using again the roll call vote? Is there any specific reason you want to reconsider? Do we have a new argument to support that discussion?
And you can't answer that.
I can?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. There's no new item, but I will actually want to, I'm seeing it from a new perspective, so I would want to consider it. Does that make sense?
All right, and so if that'll give either of you the opportunity to withdraw. All right. All right, it's been moved and seconded on the motion to reconsider. Are there any objections? Seeing no objections, that means we'll go into another vote on the same item.
Motion to remove Senator Raj from the roll.
It's moved and seconded to remove Senator Agarwal from the roll. Are there any objections to doing so? Seeing none, he shall be removed. Here, if you want to hold on one moment, you all, while we check on one thing regarding the motion to reconsider, and then we'll move forward with that. So if you hang tight for 45 seconds here, give me. Is there a second? Moved and seconded to recess for 5 minutes while we check on some of the procedure here. Hold on, folks, are there any objections to recessing for 5 minutes? Seeing none, we'll recess and we'll return at 38.
I'm dying. This is crazy. Oh, God. Yeah. So there's nothing that says we can't motion to reconsider. I don't think the motion to reconsider has debate. I think we just vote again. I think that's what happened. You know what we're doing? No. Yes, it's a motion, but it's not.
The motion's debatable. That point, it can be debated further before November. Okay, so there can be debate. There can be debate. God, every now and then there's a really not fun. How many people are present also? So, 11 to 1 to 11. And so, yeah, that's 23. So what is 2/3 of 23? Where are the winner cups? All right, everyone, you can make your way back to the tables. All right, everyone. So if I can get your attention back here for a moment, we'll reconvene. All right, and so with that, we did look into the procedure to motion to reconsider a little bit, and so it's basically like we're back on debate for the bill. So if there are any final comments or changes you'd like to make, after that, we'll vote, and that will be that. We'll start with Senator Gopa on the bill as a whole.
We discussed about this during our recess. We also discussed about it during our last round of voting. Can we just vote on this again without, we're just going to say the same things again. Are you guys okay with that? Nods. Pedasani can talk, and can we just continue with the vote?
So not Senator Zahn, Senator Moisango.
I would like to yield my time to our presenters to give you just more clarification before we go back in the voting.
Yeah, so the 4,500, again, that would be going towards food. We have donations from Hy-Vee for cookies and the frosting. And then ISU Dining is also donating the cornbread muffins. So the 4,500 will be also going towards the food that we're hoping to provide, like chili, hot chocolate, apple cider. And then the 500 would be going towards kind of just transforming the space. The original, the money that we're requesting for, we do have a kind of a plan for that. So that would be like a big amount of that money would be going towards the balloon arches, which is something we do every year, and then additional decorations to kind of, again, transform the space into the cozy cabin feeling.
All right. I would entertain a motion to add Senator Agarwal back to the roll.
Second.
Any objections? Seeing none, he shall be added. And so, Senator Azan.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say with that, they have $43,000 around that. They can still have the event without that bill. They still have money for decorations, and it's open for all the community in Ames, including students. And we are supporting $43,000 student money for students. And they have resources from Discover Ames, Hy-Vee, and other resources to contribute for food and beverages. So I'm still going to vote for no. Thank you.
Senator Kameyer.
Call to question.
Any objections? Seeing no objections to ending debate, closing comments with Senator Pedasani.
I would like to reiterate that everything's been presented to you guys. Take that into consideration and vote as you choose. But we also have to take into one thing we really do have to take into consideration is that Winterfest is something that happens once a year, and it's a great event, and it's a special event to Iowa State. So I think that should also be taken into high regard when you're considering your vote.
All right, and so seeing as this still remains a finance bill, we'll move into a roll call vote. When I call your name, please say yes, no, or of course you may abstain. Iono Dimhoff. Moran. Rahman. Rolls. Pelzer. O'Connor. Utica. Palin. Moisango. Kekun. Azan.
No.
Kameyer.
Yes.
Pedasani.
Yes.
Hartley.
Yes.
Agarwal. Shamsai. Gopa. Snyder.
Yes.
Momini. Nondal.
Yes.
Sloop. Pursley. Cronin. Going back up to Iono Dimhoff. Moran. Palin. And Gopa. With that, I had a couple of folks I had to move down. If I missed you going back through the list, now is the time to let me know. 1 second while we tally that. All right, and so just as a point of reference on finance bills, it would take 2/3 to pass, and so if quorum, or our present senators, that would mean 16. And so with a vote of 12 to 3 to 8, the motion does not carry. So we appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
With that, we'll move on to special orders, starting with item 2024-2-038 SG, seating senators to the PR committee with Speaker Momini.
All right, y'all. After all that debate, I'm going to invite the two senators on the bill to go up, tell us a little bit about yourselves, as you're both kind of relatively new, and then why you want to join PR.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, she shall be removed. Thank you. This time's yours.
Hi, my name's Kevin O'Connor. I want to be on the PR committee to work on the podcast. That is all.
Hi, I'm Luke Cronin. I want to be on PR committee because I think it's important that all people on campus are outreach to, and I think we need to develop more creative ways to outreach. Thank you.
And with that, the floor is open, starting with Senator Kameyer.
Do we have, I know we have one Eric. Do we have Eric with a K here? No. Okay. So I guess Eric with a C, you can answer this. The podcast is just the subcommittee, right? You don't even have to be seated on the committee to work on it? Correct. Okay. So do you want to elaborate why you want to be on the committee as a whole?
The podcast would be the main thing I would work on. I would also probably find other things. I also do need to sit on a committee as a senator. So I think that this wraps solving all those into one.
All right. Senator Pedisani.
What is one idea you have in terms of connecting with students that you would probably bring to marketing for both of you?
I think more interactive events like tabling would be good, or just, I mean, we can think of more things later, but more interactive events is what I'm looking for.
Again, talking about working on the podcast, because that is still the main thing that I would want to work on in this position. I feel like a lot of people don't know about student government, and it could be brought up as something talked about on the podcast.
All right, and with that, the floor is open for any further discussion. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to end debate at this time. Are there any objections to doing so? Seeing no objections, closing comment, Speaker Momini. UC has been called for. Are there any objections to passing these nominees by way of unanimous consent? Seeing no objections, congratulations, the motion carries. Next, we'll see item 2024-2-039 SG, seating a senator to the Health and Wellness Committee with Speaker Momini.
Yep, I'm going to do the same and let the candidates speak for themselves.
Hi guys, I'm Daniel Shamsai. I'm a SUV senator, and I participated in some of their meeting, and I think it's a very good opportunity for me to join their committee and help to the people who I representative for them.
And with that, the floor is open for discussion, starting with Senator Snyder.
I would just make a quick friendly that says health and wellness on the last order line.
Speaker Momini, do you accept? All right. Senator Hartley.
I think his last name is also spelled wrong.
Are you able to confirm that?
I can't see the video.
There's 2 S's when there's supposed to be 1.
Do you accept? Sounds great. Senator Pedisani.
What's a project you have in mind you would work on if you were put into health and wellness?
Well, actually, I plan to work a little bit on recreative services, and I spend most of, not most of the time, but I go to gym a lot. I'm planning to increase the time of the gym during the summer, because I know some of the international students that don't leave the Ames during the summer have an issue with this. So it's one of my plans. And I'm planning to help you in the safe ride, because I think I have a lot of experience on taking safe ride to go to my home. So I think we can have a collaborating on that. Any other question?
With that, the floor is open. Is there moved and seconded to end debate? Are there any objections to doing so? Seeing no objections, closing comments with Speaker Momini. UC has been called for. Are there any objections to passing this nominee by way of unanimous consent? Seeing no objections, congratulations, the motion carries.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move into general orders, starting with item 2024-2. Pardon? 21F. All right, there's been a motion to move item 021F to the to be immediately considered, top of our current agenda. Is there a second, first of all? Moved and seconded, are there any objections? Seeing no objections, the amendment shall be made. And with that, we'll now move directly into, again, item 021F with Senator Moisango.
So the Indian Students Association are hosting the Dandiya event on Saturday, and they are here requesting for funds.
First of all, is there a second? Moved and seconded to waive first read. Objected to. Do you wish to state the nature of your objection? And that could be asking for clarification about why we're waiving first read.
First of all, that happened in past too. There's a precedent that, organization coming at late all the time, asking for first wave. Is there any specific reason that you did not apply for funding for this earlier, like a regular process?
Is it directed at someone in particular?
Anyone, I can yield anyone from the club to respond to that question, because that happened in the last year as well, and you said that we're gonna apply on time, and now it's the same process, and you're requesting the first wave again.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate. I'm the president of the Indian Students Association. So about that, I would sincerely like to apologize that we have a precedent that is right, but we do have clarification to offer that we have issues with our treasurer, that our old treasurer, Shobit Sarkar, he left and did not leave us with enough information and documentation so that we could get our finances in order, and then that we had to appoint a new treasurer this semester, because the one we elected last semester, he also left, and so our finances were in a bit of a jeopardy, and we had to sort all those things out, and then now that we have solved all those problems, now we are a functioning committee once again. Yes.
I withdraw.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to waive first read. Are there any objections to doing so? Seeing no objections, first read shall be waived. We're now back on the bill on second read. So it's still your opening if you wish, or I'm sorry, I apologize, whose bill was that? Senator Moisango.
I will yield my time to the club representatives.
Okay, so can I hear the question again? I'm so sorry.
Just explain to the Senate why you need $112.50 for the event on Saturday.
Okay, so the event that we're having on Saturday is called Dandiya. It's a representation of a traditional Indian dance, and this event has been happening for the past a decade now, more than a decade. And yeah, the money that we're requesting today is for the AV technician to be there in our event and, take care of problems as they arise, like lighting issues, audio issues, and all those kind of things. Yes.
All right, with that, the floor is open, starting with Senator Kameyer.
I would just like to repeat the fact that this did pass through Finance Committee favorably, and yeah.
Senator Rolls.
I was wondering how many people do you expect to be at the event?
About 150 to 200, yes.
Okay. And is that students or just general?
Yeah, 95% of them will be students, and I expect a couple of faculty members that we have invited. Yes.
All right, Senator Azan.
I'm assuming it's going to take more than $100, right, for the whole event. So did you apply for annual allocation for this specific event?
No, not for this event, because all the other things which we did submit to the Finance Committee are received. So we were given a student discount. And for the food that we're having, it's Indian snacks. We are paying for that with our own money that we have.
Okay, awesome. I yield.
Senator Pedasani.
As the president did bring up, that they're most of the budget for this is coming out of their own pocket and their own allocations. So, and they're only looking for an AV technician, and they have sent me their invoice regarding the entire breakdown, and all they are requesting is an AV technician and nothing more. So,
Senator Sham Saeed, excuse me.
I have only one question, and my question is, if this act doesn't pass tonight, what's your plan? Do you have any alternative plan?
Yes, so we do have enough money to carry out this event, but we are looking for help from your side, because we have another event, Diwali, coming up. It's our biggest event, and we are hoping that, you know, we do things smoothly this time around. Yes.
Vice Speaker Pursley.
Yeah, I would just like to make a friendly to change the title from Diwali to Dandiya, because I think those are two different things.
Where was that error? I'm sorry.
It's
it was
up
on.
in the top. It's in the top left hand.
It's correct. No, it's the name of the actual file.
Senator Moisanga, would you accept that friendly?
Yes.
All right. Senator Rolls.
This is just kind of a clear, but do you guys to join your, do you guys collect dues to students that want to join?
So I was elected president in February, and before that, we did not do that. But after this event, Dandiya, on Saturday, we do have a plan coming out, and we are going to collect dues from people.
Okay.
Yes.
And with that, the floor is open.
Call the question.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded to end debate. At this time, are there any objections to doing so? Seeing no objections, closing comments with Senator Moisanga.
I would just say vote for this bill favorably. That's all.
And with that, we'll move into a roll call vote, starting with Iono Dimhoff. Yes. Moran. Rahman. Yes. Rolls. Pelzer. Yes. O'Connor.
Yes.
Utica. Oh, all right. Palin.
Yes.
Moisango.
Yes.
Kekun. Okay. Azan. Kameyer.
Yes.
Pedasani.
Yes.
Hartley. Agarwal. Sham Saeed. Gopa. Snyder.
Yes.
Momini.
Yes.
Sloop. Pursley. Cronin. And then going back to Moran. Rolls. And I believe finally Azan.
Yes.
One moment while we tally that. One second.
point of information, since we already have a couple of senators left out, and are they still in the role? So how are we going to proceed?
Here, let me tally this real quick, and then I'll get back. My answer depends. All right, and so what we would traditionally do there is we would do, the way we would mark it would be yes, no, abstain, and then you would have a non-voting category. And so it'd be up to interpretation whether or not that would count against the bill. But having tallied this up, it would not have changed the outcome of it. And so with a final vote of 16 to 0 to 4 to 2 non-voting, as you said, congratulations, the motion carries.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
And so, go ahead. One second. Are there any objections? Seeing none, they shall be removed. In 1 second while we reflect that. All right, thank you all. And so with that, now we'll move into general orders, starting with item 2024-2-006Y, updating the bylaws to reflect a sergeant in arms position with Speaker Momini.
Okay, so we saw this last week on first read. I brought it back to rules and rules discussed it. We have sent it back with an amendment. The amendment reads that if the speaker determines the ROTC member to be defaulting on these duties and responsibilities, they can name an alternate designee from the Senate. This is just a safe hold in case ROTC's representative, is defaulting on their duties as it says. I just want to add a point of clarification that this does not require anybody who does not want to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to stand. It's completely optional. It's always been optional in case that wasn't known. It also doesn't give ROTC any leverage, any power. The person who is here saying our Pledge of Allegiance is not allowed to be a voting member of student government. That is written in there. The thought process behind this, I know that there's some stuff floating around that this bill was done for a certain person who is not a senator. That's not correct. Right here. It was written by me and co-sponsored by the Vice Speaker. That's the only two people who are on the bill. I wrote the bill by myself, and the thought process behind it was that right now we don't have anything that says who says the Pledge of Allegiance. It's just there, and I think that if we are going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, that it should be said by somebody who finds pride in it, and I think this is an alley to achieve that and also uphold the tradition that we have. So I'm open to questions.
With that, the floor is open, starting with Senator Azan.
I think this bill it's confusing for me. I think it's not necessary to have external person doing the Pledge of Allegiance for us. If there's no guideline, my suggestion will be to Rules Committee to work on, or maybe assign the duties to Vice Speaker or Speaker of the Senate on that session, or we can work anyone from the Rules Committee within the Senate to have that responsibility to be shared, instead of external person doing something, coming up and creating so much chaos, I will say. Coordinations, communications, and so many other things get along in that process. With that, I will vote for no for this bill.
Am I allowed to respond?
If you're not, are you just yielding your time? So I'm afraid not, but can add you to the speakers list, and we'll move over to Snyder.
I'm going to just echo Azan. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I've already voiced my sentiment about this bill. I think it's quite unnecessary for us to have a connection to an organization we don't fund and don't have a prior connection to. We have a standing tradition. I say we stick to it. Yield.
Senator Iono Dimhoff.
I don't think we should discourage there being a connection between us and ROTC. Even though we might not have any current connections with them, they still have a role here on campus. So that's why we'll be voting yes on this.
Speaker Momini.
To rebut the fact that we don't fund them, we have a connection to every student here on campus. we are representatives of every student here on campus. That means that an ROTC member could be represented under UROC, it could be represented under your constituency, or yours, or yours, or yours, or yours, or yours. We represent all those students. This is just giving a platform for those students. You know, they can use this as a resume builder, they can use it as a point of experience. This can get ROTC members to know that student government exists within itself. I think that just because we don't have a outstanding relationship and that we don't fund them, I don't think that that means that there isn't a place for them here. I think that if we have to say the Pledge of Allegiance, obviously this is going to sound odd, but they like our country enough to be in ROTC. I think that they are perfect people to come in and say our Pledge of Allegiance, whereas myself or the next person who sits in the seat might not want to say it. That is the precedent, is that it was said by the speaker, and that's why I wrote the bill, was because I don't think that it should be put on the speaker and put them in an uncomfortable position if they don't feel like they have the voice or the ability to say that they would not like to say it. Not everybody is as open about expressing that as I am, and I think that this gives leeway for ROTC, somebody who is already representing and is a student, to come in and say it, as well as if ROTC defaults, the speaker can determine somebody else who can say it. I just think that it gives some more legitimacy, and I don't think that it causes chaos. I think that it gives more order, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with expanding the people that we communicate with. I yield.
Senator Gopa.
Is the text in red the changes you want to make, or can we motion to approve those changes? And I'd like to change, they can name an alternative designee from the Senate. Can we also make that like anyone from the general population too? Because let's say someone cool comes to campus one day and they want to say the Pledge of Allegiance here. And I know it sounds silly right now, but I mean, yeah. I don't know. Someone might. Madonna might come by. I'm just. If you're fine with that, yeah.
And so are you moving that amendment?
Yeah, I'm moving the amendment.
Is there a second?
The text in red, let it be.
So we can give folks a moment to read that.
We can waive bylaws. Let's just not discuss this. Let's move on. Amend it.
So if that moved and seconded to make the, in red, the amendment proposed by rules, are there any objections to making that amendment? Seeing no objections, it shall be made. We're now back on the bill as a whole. Did you? Senator Kammeier.
I might have missed this, but will we be voting on, like, so I'm assuming ROTC is going to have their appointment, like, do we vote, like, yes or no for them? Like, are they going to come up and speak?
That would kind of, I feel like that would make them a like seated member if we were to vote on them. Like, I just don't know what we would be voting for. It could be done if that's something that's of interest, but that's kind of where that ordered clause was, is that if, you know, obviously the speaker has the role of communicating with all the senators can communicate with the speaker can determine if that member of ROTC is not doing the appropriate job and can remove them, if that answers it.
Like, we vote on at-larges, and they're not, like, voting members of the Senate, so, and I feel like this is kind of similar in its
Some
role
at-larges
in a
are
way.
voting members of committees.
Well, of committees, but not of the Senate.
They're not a voting member.
They don't, like, we didn't want to give them anything more than this.
Okay. I guess I'll just throw that out there, that I think that we should consider, like, them presenting themselves if they're going to be playing a role at the start of our meetings. Thank you.
Senator Gopa.
So we're not having a say in their selection process at all.
It is not an election. The ROTC picks somebody from their ranks who qualify underneath, I believe, I'm trying to find it. one of the clauses say like the qualifications, like that they have the time commitment, that they can, separate themselves from any affiliations or et cetera, that they're just coming here for the one specific purpose to say our Pledge of Allegiance. I feel like if we vote them in, that it adds something else to that process.
Senator Azan.
I still agree with Senator Noha's comment on that, because it's a Senate, so I think senators should have some say to make a decision instead of someone imposing someone on us. So I think it would be great to have a nominee from ROTC, and then nominee talking about why they are passionate, all these things, and then that nominee can serve us throughout the session in Pledge of Allegiance, if we have to do that. Instead of like some random person just walking in every time and then doing it.
Point of information, the way that this would work best for ROTC is that they are able to be flexible in the position and able to send different people.
So we have no say who's going to come here and just do it for us?
No, the speaker does have a say, and if you guys voice that to the speaker can get rid of that person, like it says in the bill. In my opinion, if we're voting somebody in, it makes them an official member of student government. This is not supposed to be an official member of student government. It's not an official member of student government. It is just supposed to be somebody who comes in for literally 1 minute. They could leave after if they want. Say the Pledge of Allegiance and be done. If you add a voting aspect in, it begs the question, are they an official member of student government?
Senator Moisango.
I just wanted to echo on what Senator Mabani was saying, that there's no point of voting in someone, because any student can come and sit in here and just observe this meeting. It's open to each and every student. So if the member chosen by ROTC just comes and just leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then their role is done, I don't see any problem or any reason why we should have a vote on who comes or who doesn't.
Senator Kameyer.
I guess I would just say if we're giving them an official role, then they are an official member just by nature of how this would work. I also think I'll just leave it there.
All right then. Speaker Mamani.
If it helps, don't look at the fact that I can't spell. I added into the second whereas clause an amendment that I think would be beneficial. It says, and would communicate within 4 days before the Senate meets to the speaker that they will be in attendance. I think that this can help the speaker validate that the person who's coming, for one, will not only be there, but who it is, and then it can even be sent out in the legislative packet who will be there representing ROTC to say the Pledge of Allegiance, if that makes you all feel better. And then if you guys have concerns, the Tuesday when I send it out, you can voice them then. That's it.
All right. Senator Pedasani.
Yeah, so kind of going back to what Noah was saying, I think if we vote them in, it's gonna add something on top of it that we're not trying to add. We're just trying to put them into the bylaws saying they're gonna do the pledge, that's it, and they leave. They can be here if they wish to, like in the gallery, like a lot of different people do come in here, see what student government senate is like, and then leave. That's the whole point of this role. It's nothing other than just saying the pledge and leaving, if they wish to. And adding a vote would just make it something more than it should be.
Senator Iono Dimhoff.
To echo what Senator Pedasani just said, I do agree. I think voting in would be excessive, and then I think it would also just add confusion overall to the Senate. This is just a representative. I feel like we need to clarify that. They're clearly here just as a representative from ROTC to do the pledge for us, or lead the pledge for us.
Right. I would note, unfortunately, Senators Gopa and Kameyer, you've both used both of your speaking privileges for the bill. Okay, he's got to be the one to put it up, right? Senator Sloop. All right.
I guess I just have two questions. So one, when you say it's going to be a new person, like, would that be each session, as in second session, third session, or would that be like a weekly thing?
I don't think it's supposed to be as frequently as weekly, but within each session, there may be multiple people. Imagine if we had to add a bill each time each new person came to have them voted in. I'm working on wording the amendment so I can propose it and see if that satisfies everybody's concern.
Okay. And then on the amendment, can you just require it, like, to be on the agenda? Because right now, just how it's worded, it just says that the speaker would know. So just that the speaker has to inform the Senate? If that
Like
makes
in the
sense.
legislative packet, or?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Pedisani.
I yield my speaking privilege to Senator Gopa was the one?
Did you still wish to?
Yes.
Thank you.
So I think the reason we're all discussing about this is we're feeling a bit icky about ROTC's name on this. Can we just make it so that the speaker can designate anyone, and it really depends. This speaker wants to designate the ROTC to this. In the future, we can have. It's just up to the speaker at the end. Like, we don't need to make this a rule. We just put it in the bylaws that just lets the speaker designate designate someone to, like, say the Pledge of Allegiance. Like, it's that simple. We don't need to, like, start a new role. We don't need to start a new, like, relationship. We just do whatever we used to do and just let someone else say.
I think that saying that we don't need to start a new relationship is just, I don't understand the argument behind that. And it does already say in the bill that the speaker can determine anybody else if ROTC isn't doing what they're supposed to do. It has that simplicity to it. This is establishing a relationship, and then it also has a fail-safe that if that relationship is no longer working out, that the speaker can determine somebody else without any fault. This is not a contract. This is just a bylaw. It just says that we can have this relationship with ROTC, and if it doesn't work out, the speaker can remove it. And at the end of the day, if this doesn't work out, let's say even in my term, I will personally put up the bill to remove it from the bylaws. That's, object. I have amendments. What?
And I am sorry, Senator Zahn, you also have used both of your two speaking privileges, so someone can yield to you. But I would say for the good of the body, are there amendments that you've written on this document that have not been approved? Yes. Okay. Do you wish to move those in a moment? Yes.
I motion to add the highlighted or red parts of text. They just solidify what I said, that the representative would contact the speaker within 4 days, so that way the speaker can send it out in the legislative packet for everybody to see.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded to make these two amendments in the last whereas and first ordered clause. Are there any objections to doing so? Seeing no objections, the amendment shall be made. We're now back on the bill as a whole with Senator Moran.
Thank you. So after listing all the senators and Speaker Momney motivation of this bill, I think it's important to have connections and relationship with different departments and all this, like, as a community. So there's no harm of having this responsibility assigned to someone, as long as the speaker is okay of having extra responsibility of communication on his plate, on her plate. So I'm gonna vote for yes on this one too. So let's move on further. Call a question.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded to end debate. Are there any objections to doing so? Seeing no objections, closing comments with Speaker Momney.
I hope that you guys see the purpose behind this bill. My personal motivation was I came into a role where I felt an obligation to do something that I was uncomfortable with, and I don't want anybody else to be put in that position. So that is why I wrote it. That's why I think it should exist, and that's all I have.
And so if that, unless there are strong preferences for either UC or a placard vote, I'll move into a roll call vote on this. UC has been called for?
Object.
And objected to? All right. Roll call has been called for, which does supersede placard votes. So we'll move into a roll call vote at this time. When I call your name, once again, yes, no, or abstain, starting with Iona Dimhoff. Yes. Moran. Yes. Brahman. No. Rolls. Pelzer. Yes. O'Connor. Palin. Moisango. Yes. Azan.
Yes.
Kameyer.
Move me down.
Pedasani.
Yes.
Hartley. Yes. Agarwal. Shamsai. Gopa. Snyder.
No.
Momini.
Yes.
Sloop. Pursley. Cronin. Going back up to Rolls. O'Connor. Palin. Kameyer. Due surely to the number of people who move themselves down. Again, if I do miss you, please yell at me at some point. 1 second while we tally that up. All right, and so with a final vote of 17 to 2 to 1, the motion carries. And with that, we'll move into item 2024-2-002J, congratulating the co-directors of events on a successful Big 12 Student Government Conference with Speaker Momini.
Yep, we heard all about this last week. I hope you took the time to read it. I think it's great. That's all I gotta say.
And with that, is there a second? Moved and seconded to end debate. Are there any objections to doing so? Seeing no objections, closing comments with Speaker Momini. UC has been called for. Are there any objections to passing this resolution by way of unanimous consent? Seeing no objections, congratulations, the motion carries. Next, we'll move into item 2024-2-002SR, hiring an additional full-time doctor or physician assistant, PA, for the Thielen Student Health Center with Senator Azan.
Okay, so this is straightforward. I hope so. There's an increase in the number of students on campus, but the staff is the same. I reached out to the Thielen Health Center to get their thought process on this resolution, so they are on board. So just this bill resolution is just for advocating for students so that they can initiate a process of hiring additional doctor or PA for the health center. Yeah.
With that, the floor is open for debate, starting with Senator Pedasani.
I would like to yield my speaking privilege to President Martin Hirsch.
Hey, I just want to add something real quick. I don't know how much of a point this bill has right now, and I'll give you an example. I'll just give you the reason why. It's just recently I found out Thielen is in the process of actually hiring another doctor. So just, I know that was the big intention of the bill. They're actually in the process of hiring another doctor at Thielen, just for a point of information for Senator Azan and all the senators here.
Okay, so just to answer on that, well, the whole point of this bill is to raise students' concern on this issue, that there's a demand. So we are actually asking them to prioritize this process. So that will be on record, that is something that the students want. There's only 3 doctors on campus, 3 PA, and there's also an increase of the number of students, wait time. So this bill is just putting this on record, that this is what we stand for, and we should at least push the department to prioritize this as additional hiring process. So it's good if they are actually doing it, but yes, so that will just raise, our opinion that we should prioritize this hiring process.
Did you yield that to Senator Azan or no?
I don't know if I did. I think I could yield.
Technically, no. So we kind of transitioned there without.
Sorry.
All right. We'll count that as one of your speaking privileges, but we can be flexible if you have more to add.
Yeah.
Senator Gopa.
Yeah, this is a good bill, Azan, but like you said, they did it, and it's good that you voiced your concern. So I think we just need to call the question because there's no point of this discussion. Because,
Object. I have a recommendation.
Okay.
My recommendation is, with that coming to light, that they are already hiring somebody, that instead of making the opinion that they need to prioritize it, like, in my opinion, it has a little bit of a negative light, like they aren't doing anything, but since they are doing something, I think that we could change the wording of the resolution to commemorate or acknowledge or appreciate the fact that they are acknowledging the issue and they are hiring somebody, and I think that that will better serve the message than telling them to do something that they're already doing.
Yeah, I would love that, so
Okay,
we can
then
amend the bill.
I'm going to motion to table it for 1 week, so you can bring it back next week with amendments, unless you're going to type those
Yeah, I
out
can
right now.
type it right now, so. Motion to recess for 2 minutes, I can update the bill.
Moved and seconded to recess for 2 minutes. Are there any objections to doing so? Seeing none, we will recess and we'll reconvene at 8:31. All right, everyone, if we can make our way back to our seats, we'll reconvene here in just a moment. So with that, I don't believe we were on any subsidiary motion, and so we're still on the bill as a whole, and we'll start with Speaker Momini.
Oh, my computer went off. Okay, so after some thought and the recess, I think that it would be in the best interest to table this to get a closer look at it. I did not know that Thielen was already in the process of hiring a physician. That completely changes the way that this bill needs to be worded, and I think that considering that one of the resolve clauses say that we're sending this to the president, that it needs to be very, very thoughtful, and I would like to give the people who are co-sponsored and just Senate as a whole more time to think about how this should be worded. So with that, I motion to table it for 1 week with considerations to the Rules Committee.
Second.
Moved and seconded to table this for 1 week. Are there any objections to that tabling? Seeing none, it shall be tabled. And with that, we'll move into our new business items for this week, starting with item 2024-2-002J, congratulating Iowa State University's athletics department and student athletes on an unprecedented start to the 2024 football season, with Speaker Momini.
Well, y'all, if you think back to some hours ago, we already talked about this a little bit. With that, I just have a friendly for myself, which is to renumber the bill. Please give it a read this next week, and we will have, I'm sure, a very fruitful discussion next week. And that's all I have, and I am open to questions.
Floor is open for questions of intent. It is on first read, so if there are no questions of intent, we'll move on. So seeing none, this item will return next week, and we'll now look at 2024-2-003J, Students on Campus Appreciating Roles Yearly for Halloween, AKA the Scary for Halloween resolution, with Speaker Momini.
Okay, guys. Everybody's looking at the bill, so I can't edit it. I have another friendly, and it's that the numbering on the joint resolutions were messed up, so I got to change that. Other than that, please take a look at the bill. Next week is our Halloween Senate meeting. This is a bill appreciating everybody who takes the time out of their day to dress up. That means that you should definitely dress up, so that way you're included, you know, and appreciated on this bill. Because I do appreciate the people who go out of their way to show a little bit of spirit for a holiday that I love. And that's all I got.
All right, that questions of intent, starting with Senator Kammeier.
When you say roles yearly in the title, like, do you mean for this to become a yearly tradition?
I am encouraging it. Yeah, yes, yes.
All right, with that, are there any further questions of intent? Seeing none, this item will return next week. And having already looked at 021F, if I'm not mistaken, we'll now move into 2024-2-023F, funding for the Muslim Student Association, with Senator Kammeier.
Hi, everyone. So this was a funding request that came in. You can read through it. Pretty simple in terms of the event that they are going to be running at the start of November, and then there's another event just before fall break. Also, if someone would like to motion to amend the bill just so that it can be referred to Finance Committee, because I made that mistake of not including the comments on there. Thank you. It's a friendly? Okay.
Is it friendly? Debatable whether we can do it on first read or not, but you do have the ability as speaker to refer it regardless of what it says in the bill. So if that helps.
So is it a friendly then?
We can fix it next week, but I think our bylaws say that all finance bills go through finance regardless.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, questions of intent, starting with Senator Azan.
Do we fund flight accommodation for a guest speaker that is not a sponsor organization, typically?
No.
All right, and with that, are there any further questions of intent? Seeing none, this item will return next week, and we'll now look at item 2024-2-024F, funding the Water Polo Club, with Senator Snyder. sure. Do you have any opening comments or just open the floor? If so, could you grab the mic? Thank you.
So this recently came to me. One of my constituents came to me and said, hey, this was proposed by another club who's in our league. They came to me and asked to see if we could get funding for just travel. We're covering accommodation costs already, and we just need to cover they just need to cover tournament fees and transportation. So this has come to me. Obviously, I'm in the organization. I will be abstaining, but this is kind of brief. This kind of just came my way, and wanted to propose it to you guys. See if we can.
With that, the floor is open. Senator Zahn, is that from last? Starting then with Senator Kammeier.
Was a funding request made through the student government website?
Please clarify. I don't understand.
Like for this bill, like was a funding request made?
I will talk. I'm not sure of that point.
It can be an I don't know.
Yes or
Yeah,
no?
I'm not
or-
sure.
Okay.
All right, moving then to Vice Speaker Pursley.
Wondering, can I make a friendly right now, or? It's just in the whereas clause. The Water Polo Club has been invited a tournament, just add to.
Thank you. Sent this out earlier today. My bad.
Sure, all right. With that, the floor is open for any final questions of intent. Someone could yield you a second question, but it is one question. Speaker Mamini. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Can I also friendly for it to, I guess it already changed, but October 23rd instead of the 23rd?
Accepted.
All right, with that, the floor is open. Seeing no further questions of intent, this will return next week, and we'll look instead at item 2024-2-022F, funding a Diwali event for the Indian Students Association with Senator Moisango.
So the Indian Students Association is requesting funding for Diwali. You can look through the bill. Yeah, that's all.
With that, the floor is open. All right, seeing no questions of intent, that will return next week. And so if we can refrain packing up for 2 seconds real quick, open for closing announcements. If anyone has something, starting with Senator Kammeier.
So overall, pretty good meeting, everyone. I'll just say I thought that this would be one of our shortest meetings. It turned out to be one of our longest. But also, I want to say if you are interested in joining an external committee, those are in the MIS posted, and I'm sure if you want more information, you can ask around about it, but there are some great opportunities to represent student government outside of just an internal committee, and I would recommend looking at those. Thank you.
All right, with that, we'll move over to rolls.
I'll start with, it was a good meeting. There was a lot of good debate. I really appreciate that. But I will say, one, never underestimate Winterfest. It was an issue last year too. But someone's getting pulled over. My main thing was with the funding. I'm a smidgen disappointed. We had no issues with the food. All of our issues was with the decorations. When we voted to reconsider, I don't see why we didn't take out the decorations so we could actually give them the food they wanted. With that being said, there's nothing we can really do at this point. For future notice, just trying to take in what our funder wants, fundee, and just kind of to take that in consideration so we actually are a little more open to organizations that we might get funding from, because since we denied them outright, how likely are they going to come back with the same expectations?
Yes? It's not clear that I can sustain Jermaine on opening or closing announcements. That's something we kind of ran into last term, but
Can we discuss the bill in the closing announcement? Okay.
I mean, yeah, I would say that tied into something broader of, philosophy when it comes to student orgs and funding as well. So with that, I'll move over to President Hirsch.
Okay, I have something I learned during the Big 12 conference.
All right, I'm going to take that as you yielding. And we'll then move on to Senator Snyder.
If you haven't voted yet, there's early voting tomorrow and Friday in the Sheeman Building. Go vote if you haven't done it already. I yield.
Senator Azan.
Guys, I just want to appreciate great discussion. That's what we are representing as students, so it's important to share your concern, thought process, convince other senators to vote for you, to vote for your points, or, contribute to the discussion. Love the session. Keep going. Awesome. Thank you.
All right, so with that, we'll move over to FD Hirsch, or FD Martinez, forced to have it there.
Wow, lots of mix-ups today.
Sorry.
I do want to say, again, thank you for the discussion. That's what this body is for. I think it was very productive. I share the thoughts Senator Rolls had. I think it's important to think about how we're acting here in this body. I do want to say also that we see bills on first read, although this Winterfest bill we saw on first read. I do encourage any senators who have any concerns with the bills, please come into Finance Committee. You guys have an opportunity to speak to us there and speak to the members there as well. But again, thank you for the discussion today. It was great.
Senator Azan. He'll take it.
Yeah, I was into Finance Committee multiple times, and Brett was like, you cannot ask a question in the Finance Committee because you don't have a speaking privilege. You cannot contribute. So that's why I stopped going to the Finance Committee.
Well, guys, I'll tell you guys right now, you're welcome to come to the Finance Committee, and we can address concerns there.
Awesome. Thank you.
Senator Pedasani. Covered? Yeah. All right, any general closing announcements I'm missing? Seeing none on my end, all I have is letting you know, again, like Emily said earlier, input in the City Council agenda. That's happening in a month. If you have anything you really want to make sure we talk about, please tell her sooner rather than later. I would apologize to President Hirsch and FD Martinez for butchering both of their names, and I would yield to the Vice Speaker.
Please do your office hours if you have not done them this week, and make sure to be writing your name in the binder so I know that you're going, because I know a lot of people have been forgetting that. It makes it really difficult for me. I have to email a bunch of people. And then also, if you don't have key card access to the office right now, please stay after and talk to Christine. We want you to be able to get into the office.
All right, y'all, last but not least, I know you're so ready to go, but please give me some time. First, I love the debate. Was not expecting the agenda to be long either. That's why I did the working meeting, but I was wrong. So sorry that it feels like we've been here forever, but I think that the working meeting was a lot of fun. And while Robert's rules might have been a mess, I think that we did get a lot of engagement, and I hope that you guys all feel more comfortable speaking in your platforms. With that, I think that it's important that while we understand the fundies who come in, that we also understand that it's student money and how that might affect or how that might seem to low-income students. I think it's very important that we consider that. With that, next week is our Halloween Senate meeting. Please, please, please dress up. It doesn't have to be something crazy. I think it'd be fun if it was, but it doesn't have to be. So if you're going to, please refer to the very creative email that Quinn sent out with the fancy Halloween font. So please let him know what you're going to be. I think he intends on printing us some pretty cool name tags. Now that everybody finally has one, you can have a Halloween one as well. So please dress up. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Other than that, motion to adjourn. Go Cyclones.
We are adjourned. See you next week.